Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the third solo show this month on the topic of mental health, productivity, and ambition. Did you catch Wednesday's episode with Holly Haynes? If you missed it, you're definitely gonna want to go back and check it out. Holly helps female entrepreneurs create simple, scalable offers and systems to grow to multiple six figures without relying on the social algorithm. Sign me up. I want all of that. So today I'm going to share some of my major takeaways from our interview and share some of my insights after signing up and completing Holly's CEO week and listening to her podcast series on ditching the social drama. So the overarching takeaway from all of my recent points of contact with Holly is this phrase that I want on a neon sign that says, what's working and what's not. As with most things on this podcast, it is simple, but not easy. But this is the bottom line that I keep coming back to. What's working and what's not. I've preached on this show before that self-development, personal growth is not a one-size-fits-all. You have to take a little bit from this person and a little bit from that book and a little bit from this podcast and find what works for you. And I see this so clearly as it relates to, for example, healing my relationship with food and body image and parenting. But when it comes to this darn podcast and kind of my business goals, I won't lie. I wanted to follow Holly's exact plan from A to Z, and I basically wanted to be Holly and have Holly's brain just like on my desk that I could just pick from. I don't know, that's a weird visual I'm getting into now, but you know what I mean. And so anyway, I have learned, like with everything else, there is a way to take what someone like Holly does and make it your own. And in fact, you have to make it your own. So let's start with her free resource, the CEO Week. So Holly walks us through identifying our business hours and then using her approach of theme days that she talked about a little bit on the episode with me to break down the business hours then that you've established by day and by theme. And again, here is where I've had to learn that I am not Holly, and her life and her business are not the same as mine. So I just, when I say this, it's like, okay, so Holly gives examples of what a typical 8 to 10 hour work week can look like. And I really just wanted to set it up exactly as she presented it, because I thought if this is how she does it, this is how I need to do it in order to be successful. But I got to get real, and I have to set it up for myself and how it works for me. And I know I mentioned this in the last solo show, but it is so lovely to see how these episodes in this series are all coming together. So as a reminder with Sarah, I learned that as an Enneagram Type 3, I need to redefine what success looks like for me in this phase of life. With Sade, I learned that I need to redefine what consistency means for me in this phase of life. And here with Holly is where I can apply both of those new definitions, my new definition of success and my new definition of consistency, and actually apply it and take action. So how can I consistently show up to my business and achieve success? In what capacity am I consistent? Like, what does consistent mean, and what does success look like? I feel like I'm saying a lot of the same thing over and over again, but it's just such a game-changing realization that I'm having. And so Holly really takes incredible amounts of time to deep dive the implementation of the answers to these questions in her CEO Week. And as I said, this is a free resource, so I'm going to link it for you in the show notes, because just do it. Like, whether your business is in just like the brainstorming phase or you're 6 years in, like whatever it is, this is going to help you get really, really clear on what you value and how you want to scale and grow in limited hours a week. So anyway, all right. In the CEO Week, she goes through different theme days. So some examples are content, community, client care, and having a CEO day. These are all examples. Here, she also makes sure to share that you can create your own theme days. But if these apply to you and your business, again, you're really going to want to just get into this course because she deep dives them all. I will spare you the details of my notes regarding my business week, but what I will share is that there are 3 mindset shifts that she highlights in actually doing all of this work that she suggests doing to set up your week, because they will help you establish that CEO mindset. And the first shift is that you have to find your focus. Get out of the weeds of your business, get out of the details, and find your focus and vision. And you can only do that by setting aside time for it. The second mindset shift is Instagram is not a business strategy. Fellow millennials, we have been around a while now on the social media game, and we have seen so many people just on a whim jump on Instagram, and next thing you know, they have a 6-figure business. But at this point in time, at any point in time, Instagram is not a business strategy, and that is never more evident than when Holly shared that her account was hacked and she had to start over. You do not own your account. You do not own your followers. Your account gets hacked, it's gone. And number 3, perhaps most importantly, that more work does not equal more success. You do not need to run yourself into the ground working in order to achieve success. So what do you need to do, right? This is what Holly teaches in her free resources, in her paid for membership programs, in her courses. Like I love it all. Again, I cannot express to you how many pages of notes I have from the CEO week, and the best part is truly that Holly is right in there with you. She is in there responding to questions, checking in, and I got to bring it back for a moment to the overarching theme of what's working and what's not. This is where I was able to look at what Holly proposed as theme days and say, what in here will work for me and my podcast? What will not? And on which days will it work for me? And on which days does it work for me to focus on content? Am I trying to focus on content on a day where it's not really working? Have I dubbed Mondays a content day, but Mondays I'm still kind of recovering from the weekend or whatever it is, and I'm not my most creative? Like, change it. We kind of get stuck in autopilot and stuck in our ways. And so you have to figure out, which days does it work for you to focus on community outreach? What aspects of how she suggests you break up an 8 to 10 hour work week work for you and what don't? And then if you're me, you're then going to take this Sarah thought process of, in doing this as a type 3, do I feel successful? Am I achieving what I want to achieve? Do these achievements look different than I thought they would, but are they still achievements? You see what I'm saying? And then in applying the Sade thought process of, is what I've set up here realistic? Is this sustainable? Can I consistently show up for what I have set up here every week? And more importantly for me, am I prepared for when I get derailed? Do I have a plan for bouncing back? It's a lot to think about. It really is. And admittedly, I have not been able to iron it all out yet because it takes time. But anyway, moving on to the podcast series on Holly's antisocial strategy. Again, another free and amazing resource that I will link. What's working and what's not. Like, that's really it. Honestly, I actually enjoy social media and I like creating certain types of content, but there is a good chunk of content that I create that gives me almost no return on my investment, but I just keep doing it, thinking that one day it's going to magically work, or one day it's going to magically go viral. And it's like, why? It's not working. Why am I spending my time on it? I'm living in these old thought patterns of, I have to show up here every day in this certain way in order to be successful. And it's like, but if I actually look at it, is it successful? No. Am I buying into what the social media influencers and the people who run these apps who want all of my time and attention are telling me that I should do? Or am I establishing my own patterns and my own boundaries? Yeah. If something's not working, stop spending your precious time on it, because the whole point of this is that you only have 8 to 10 hours a week. Theoretically, right? Like, if you have more, kudos. If you have less, right? If you have less, my goodness, you do not want to be spending it on things that are not working. And so Throughout these episodes, Holly goes on to explain a little bit more in detail of what she means by social media is not a business plan. She really makes some incredible points with statistics on how this is not sustainable, and not a solid way of just relying on building your business. She talks about, though, on the flip side, how to create a social media strategy that does work and does not rely on the algorithms. So there is strategy there. She's not on social media, but there is a more intentional way to be on it. She shares how else we can attract clients if it's not on social media. What is it? She talks about the power of networking too. And this is a really eye-opening series. Again, I will link it. To kind of highlight what Holly said, and it's giving me a lot to think about. The way Holly uses social media is, she uses it as like a magazine. Like she said, for people to come and go, oh yeah, this supports what I have already learned about Holly. This is a way for me to kind of check in, to see and learn more in the palm of their hand really quickly. But social media is not the heart and soul of how she makes money. That's the key, right? Anyway, as a type 3, I love the immediate validation and recognition that social media provides. I love it as a platform to showcase all the things I'm doing. But as a person who values her time, nod to you, Sade, there are aspects of it that are not serving me and that are not working. And like with a lot of things, sometimes we just need someone to give us permission to stop. And that is what Holly is doing. She is giving us permission to ditch this drama, to ditch this stress. And lastly, I want to wrap this up by talking about something that Holly said in our interview that really resonated with me. Is identifying the emotional, tangible, and life priority focused reasons why I am doing what I'm doing. Because I can tell you that if I'm really honest with myself, chasing money, chasing a certain number in money clearly isn't enough. Like, yes, I'm doing a lot of things for this podcast, but the abstract idea of just doing this with the hope of making money, I don't feel any emotional connection to that. I don't feel that in my gut. That's not getting me out of bed in the morning. Yes, money will help me do the emotional, visual, tangible things that I want in my life, but I need those things. The emotional whys, I need them to have a face. Right now, they are abstract concepts. I need to put a face to them. And I need to identify those things and think of them often. Like for Holly, it's traveling. It's showing her twins the world, and it's being there to pick them up from the bus stop. When she pictures those things, she gets her butt out of bed and stays consistent. So, what is my bus stop dream? What's yours? All right. So, there is so much more to come on this on the live Zoom. Please make sure you sign up to join us live on May 31st at 1 p.m. Eastern by visiting sasssays.com/panel. This is a free live Zoom panel with me, Holly, Sarah Wallace, Sade Kelly, and Danny Kenny, where you will have the chance to ask your questions to Holly and the other experts. You must sign up using that link in order to get access to the Zoom link. So go ahead, sign up right now, and then make sure to check back in on Wednesday for my conversation with Danny Kenny, because we are bringing it all home, wrapping it all together, and we're going to talk a lot about mindset and sort of the continued mental and emotional implications of getting right with your productivity and your mental health and pursuing those ambitions. So, all right, see you later.